Well, hello and welcome back to Greg's Game Room. Now, the other day I was on the internet looking up what are the top best-selling home consoles of all time. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the top 20 best-selling home consoles of all time. Now let's start with number 20, which of course is the Sega Dreamcast, which was released in 1999 by Sega and sold 9.13 million units. Now the Dreamcast has what I consider to be a rather unique controller in the way that it is set up, where you can stick these little memory cards in here. They're called VMUs and they have their own little screen on them. Some of my favorite games for the Dreamcast include Sonic Adventure, Crazy Taxi, Soul Calibur, Gauntlet Legends, Toy Commander, Hydro Thunder, Jet Grind Radio, Unreal Tournament, Dead or Alive 2, and all the Sega sports games, including the amazing Virtua Tennis. And of course, who could forget Shenmue and Seaman?
Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
Number 19 is the Sega Saturn, which sold 9.25 million consoles, 9.26 million consoles in 1995. I don't have a lot of memories of the Saturn, I never owned one, but I do remember some of the games: Daytona USA, Virtua Fighter, House of the Dead, Panzer Dragoon, and the one huge omission in the Saturn's library, which honestly I think might be unforgivable, and that's that they did not have a Sonic game for the Saturn. Number 18 is the TurboGrafx16. It sold about 10 million units starting in 1989. Now I remember seeing the original TurboGrafx16, which was the PC Engine, in a magazine, and I thought, man, that looks amazing. I really wish I had a game console that was that small. The games themselves came on small cards, or you could get the CD attachment, which was the first of its kind, and play games on a CD. It was well known for its shooter games, including one called Blazing Lasers and Deep Blue, Dead Moon, Legendary Axe, Bonk's Adventure, Alien Crush, and of course one of my favorite games, R-Type.
Are you one of us? 16-bit graphics, or one of them, 8-bit?
Number 17 would be the Sega Master System, that sold somewhere between 10 and 13 million units starting in 1986. I remember that it had 3D glasses and that it was more powerful than its competitors at the time. Some of the games that I remember for the Master System include Wonder Boy, Alex Kidd, Phantasy Star, R-Type, Power Strike 2, which I only recently discovered. They also did a couple of Sonic the Hedgehog games after he became really popular on the Genesis.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game. The Sega Master System, with twice as much memory as any other video game.
Sega's the one.
The Sega Master System. The challenge will always be there.
Number 15 would be the Wii U, which sold about 13.56 million units starting in 2012. It also had a really unique tablet-style controller to it, and was backwards compatible with most Wii games. Not only was the Wii U compatible with the Wii games, but it was also compatible with the Wii controllers. There were quite a few interesting games for the Wii U, including Super Mario 3D World, Mario Kart 8, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and of course Super Smash Bros., which seems to appear on every Nintendo console these days.
Wii U is the only place where you can play all your favorite Nintendo series, now for the first time in full HD. And with even more great games coming soon, there's no better time to buy.
Number 15 is the Nintendo GameCube, which sold about 22 million consoles starting in 2001. Here's Midway Arcade Treasures for the GameCube, and as you can see, CD was a little bit smaller, and I think they created the smaller CDs as a way to thwart piracy. Seemed like a pretty good idea at the time. Some of the games that I remember for the GameCube include Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, Mario Kart Double Dash, Rogue Squadron, Rebel Strike, Pikmin, Super Smash Brothers, Metroid Prime. There was a lot of good games on the GameCube.
It's all under helping hand. Mario can't do it alone. He'll spray his water to fly around and clean the sludge that's on the ground.
'Cause clean is better than dirty, and dirty's meaner than clean.
Super Mario Sunshine, only for Nintendo GameCube.
Number 14 is Microsoft's Xbox game system, which sold about 24 million consoles starting in the year 2001. Basically, the Xbox is a PC masquerading as a game console. In fact, it even had a hard drive built into it, a first for a game console. Some of the games that I remember on the original Xbox would include Halo, Knights of the Old Republic, Perfect Dark Zero, Forza Racing, Dead or Alive 3, Grand Theft Auto. There was hundreds and hundreds of games for the original Xbox.
You may have been wondering what this draped device was here. This is the Xbox. And so, for the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
At number 13 is the game console that is most near and dear to my heart, and that is the Atari 2600 VCS, which sold about 30 million units starting in 1977. Of course, the Atari 2600 was the first popular game console in the world. It had a staggering 4K of memory. It sold from the years 1977 and was discontinued in 1992, which means it was sold in 3 separate decades. Some of the more notable games for the Atari 2600 would include Pac-Man, Asteroids, Space Invaders, E.T., Pitfall, River Raid, Breakout, Adventure, dozens and dozens of arcade ports, and of course, one of my favorite games, Gremlins.
The video game that lets you help E.T. get home just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays from Atari.
Number 12 is the Sega Genesis, which was released in 1989 and sold nearly 31 million units. It came with this 3-button controller, and it wasn't good enough. So Sega came out with the 6-button controller. Now, of course, the Sega Genesis is mostly well known for its marketing. If you had a Super Nintendo, you didn't have blast processing like we did with the Genesis. Some of my most played games for the Sega Genesis include Mortal Kombat 2, Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Landstalker the Treasure of King Noel, Road Rash 3, Mercs, Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, and of course Streets of Rage 2, but I love all of the Streets of Rage games.
16-bit arcade hits. What Nintendo?
Number 11 is the Nintendo Switch, which has sold just under 32 million consoles starting in 2017. Now, it's a portable console hybrid kind of game system. It has these little Joy-Cons here on the side that pop off, maybe. And it has a dock that you can hook up to your television and play it on the TV. The cartridges are these little teeny tiny cards, and Nintendo was worried that kids would eat them, I think because they're so tiny, so they made them taste terrible. So don't eat them, kids. Some of the more notable games for the Switch include Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, the Pokemon games, and one game in particular that has become my daughter's favorite, which is Splatoon 2.
Wanna play? Yeah, let's go. There you go. Ready? Let's get into it. No, it's not there.
Coming in at number 10 is the Nintendo 64. Released in 1996, it has sold almost 33 million units. I remember seeing it in a Blockbuster playing Mario 64, and I thought, man, that's pretty awesome. I loved how they had the analog controller. Some of the games that I remember for the Nintendo 64 include Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, Super Smash Bros.
The games of Nintendo 64.
Coming in at number 9 is the Xbox One, which has so far sold 39 million units. It was released in 2013 and is lovingly known as the X-Bone. A couple of the notable exclusives for the Xbox One include Forza 4, Halo 5, Gears of War 13 or whatever they're up to these days, a game called Cuphead, and a game called Sea of Thieves.
We're going to use
groundbreaking technology and the power of the cloud
to set my imagination free.
Free to create worlds and feelings.
I can only begin to imagine.
Where I'll stop just watching
and start feeling
alive. Alive. Alive.
alive.
Number 8 is the Nintendo Super NES, which was released in 1991 and has sold 49 million units. Is known for Mode 7 scaling effects, has this nifty 6-button controller, also it has this button right here, pops out the cartridge. There were just so many incredible games for the Super Nintendo, including Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World, Star Fox, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, Donkey Kong Country, Castlevania.
There's only one place to come, the games of Super Nintendo, because no one else creates these kinds of games. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Number 7 is the Nintendo NES, which sold 62 million units. It was released in 1985 after the market had crashed, and this system was intentionally designed to not look like any other system that Atari would have created. Now it includes a pop-up style cartridge loading slot here and had totally different style of controllers. Many cartridges included specialty MMC or memory mapper chips in order to give them special capabilities beyond what the original NES could do on its own. Notable games for the NES would include Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Zelda, Castlevania, Metroid, Punch-Out, Tetris, DuckTales, Dodgeball, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Double Dragon 2, and probably my favorite 2 games on the NES, Contra and Super Contra. There's thousands of games for the NES, and if you don't own one of the 62 million units, then I don't know what to tell you.
Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
At number 6 is the Sony PlayStation 3, which sold just under 84 million units. It was released in 2006, and frankly, I thought it kind of looked like a Foreman grill. It was released for $500 back in the day, and I think that was a little too expensive for most people. I want to say Sony changed the price pretty soon after that. Some of the notable games for the PlayStation 3 include God of War, Metal Gear Solid 4, Little Big Planet, and a little series called Uncharted.
Dear PlayStation, I got a tip that you were making the PS3 $299. Confirm or deny?
$299? Bernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. That's how World War I got started. No comment.
But all that stuff says $299. Right behind you.
I'm sorry, you said something?
And number 5 is Microsoft's Xbox 360 console, which sold just over 84 million units starting in 2005. Of course, what the Xbox 360 might be best remembered for is the red ring of death. They seem to have a lot of problems with the original models. Some of the great games for the Xbox 360 would include Geometry Wars, Minecraft, Hydro Thunder Hurricane, Battle Station Specific, Forza 4, a little game called Arcade Craft, a game similar to Minecraft called Total Miner, and a really cool space battle game called Dark Star 1.
What time is it? It's more fun time. Let's ride. You can play with your friends over Xbox Live. My gamer tag is Senorita O'Fun. That's S-E-N-O. Oh! Maybe you should ease back on the sugar, huh? I hope you Twitter better than you drive.
Coming in at number 4 is the PlayStation 4, which has sold 94 million units. It was released in 2013. It has this controller with a touchpad on it. They also released a VR headset, which I thought was pretty cool. There are a lot of great games that have already been released for it, including the new God of War game that came out not too long ago. Spider-Man, Uncharted 4, I guess is what they're up to now. Devil May Cry, something or other. And a game that's not really exclusive, but one that I've been playing the heck out of lately, and that's Friday the 13th. The game. There's so many games on there, it's hard to keep up with them all. At number 3 is the Nintendo Wii. Now this thing has sold over 101 million units starting in 2006. Of course, you had to have that little sensor bar across the top which plugs in here. Probably that red one right there. It was kind of derided because a lot of the games required that you use the Wii motion controller, and they would call these kind of games waggle games, where you just kind of like waggle the joystick at the screen, I guess. Of course, this thing's massive sales has proved that you don't need the most latest and greatest technology in order to succeed in the gaming arena. All you have to do is have a lot of fun games, and that's exactly what the Wii has, including Mario Kart, Mario Galaxy, Zelda, Super Smash Brothers, the Wii Play games, the Wii Sports games. There's so many great games on the Wii, and they're still playable even to this day.
We would like to play.
Number 2 is the Sony PlayStation, the original PlayStation that was released in 1995 and has sold 102.5 million consoles. Now, this system was more or less a response to the deal that fell apart between Sony and Nintendo. Sony was going to make a CD attachment for the Super Nintendo. That whole deal kind of fell apart when Nintendo decided to go with Philips. Sony felt a little bit spurned, I believe, at that point, and they decided, well, we'll just go ahead and make our own system, and look what they've done with it since then. It's been an incredible run for them, for sure.
I'm going to ask Sony Computer Entertainment President of America, Steve Reyes, to join me for a brief presentation. $299.
What I do remember about this system is that, one, it had CDs with a black bottom to them. I thought that was kind of weird. I also remember that it had kind of chunky looking graphics. Some of the more notable games for the original PlayStation would include Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Tekken, Gran Turismo, Tony Hawk, Tomb Raider, Wipeout. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the platformers Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and Klonoa. I think that's how it's pronounced. Also the Mario Kart style game Crash Team Racing.
Hey, plumber boy, mustache man, your worst nightmare has arrived. Pack up your stuff. I got a little surprise for you here.
Check it out. What do you think about that?
Feel a little like your days are numbered?
I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
You're hurting my elbow.
The only thing that could possibly be bigger than 102 million would be the number 1 game system of all time, which is the PlayStation 2, has sold 155 million units. That just blows my mind to think that 155 million of these had been sold to people around the world. Some of the incredible games that appeared on the PlayStation 2 would include God of War, Ratchet & Clank, Jax and Dexter, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid 3, Guitar Hero, anybody remember Guitar Hero? Tekken 4, and a little series called Grand Theft Auto 3. Vice City, San Andreas were also on the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2, the #1 best-selling console of all time, and I just got one myself like 3 months ago.
New for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland. The ultimate just got better. PlayStation 9. Teleport yours today.
Alright, so there you have it. The top 20 best-selling game consoles of all time. Now, which ones did you have? Did you have a Sega Genesis? Or did you have a PlayStation 2? Or did you have an Atari 2600? Or maybe you had a Nintendo NES, like this one. Maybe you had the Xbox, oh my gosh, 360. This thing weighs a lot more than it looks. So tell me down below in the comments, which game systems do you have and which ones are your favorite? So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.